If your money is feeling like a junk drawer, today we're cleaning it out. Not with guilt, not with spreadsheets that you'll never open again, not with just stop buying coffee energy. In the next hour, I'm walking you through a 60-minute money reset you can actually do today without becoming a part time accountant. You're going to leave with a simple way to triage your entire money life and a one-page money command center, as well as next steps that fit how you do money. Because if you listen to my last two episodes on wealth identity and wealth capacity, you already know this. Strategy without fit is just stress in a beautiful suit. And we're not doing that. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So they might go
Hello, my money moguls in training and my financial whizzes. And also, shout out to my high earning and high capacity people who are tired of money taking up premium real estate in your brain. Welcome back to another episode of the Do Different Better show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And on the show, we talk about wealth wisdom and money moves, making finance simple for everyday people. And you get to hang out with me for a little bit. Founder and CEO, strategist, investor, and professional translator of finance speak into real life. And yes, full disclosure, I'm from the school of if we're going to be stressed, at least let's be efficient about it. Okay. On today's episode, we're going to continue this theme that I've been having in the first quarter, which is really about getting clear headed and grounded and escaping what I call the money stress loop. Because money anxiety doesn't usually come from one big mistake, it comes from 1,000 tiny loose ends where there is no plan or understanding. And today we're going to close all those tabs so that you can be able to have a clear path forward and hopefully alleviate some of the stress and anxiety that you might be feeling. So here's my promise to you on this episode. Okay. By the end of this hour, you will have a simpler money system that than you do right now, which may be nothing at all. But just to be clear, it's not that we're looking for it's going to be perfect. It's not even going to be optimized. And it's not I have 12 brokerage accounts and a spreadsheet and need therapy because now I'm super, super stressed out. The goal here is simpler, clearer, and lighter, right? Because if you are a high earner and maybe not rich yet, your biggest risk is not that you don't know what to do. Your biggest risk is the actual mental load that you're carrying that is actually distracting you. You're managing your career pressure, you're managing family pressure, and the quiet pressure to look like you have it all together financially, even if you don't feel that internally. So today, we're not doing a budget episode. This is a get your sanity together episode. And yes, if you listen to my last two episodes, you'll really begin to understand why this matters. So, in the wealth identity episode, I named that a big truth that people don't fail at money because they lack discipline. They fail because they're copying goals that maybe don't fit exactly where they are. And in the wealth capacity episode, I talked about actual readiness. What can your life actually handle and hold without breaking you or your finances? So, today is the bridge between those two episodes because simplifying your money is how you create the capacity to build the wealth without fighting yourself. Okay. So, here's how we are going to get started. And so, if you're, don't worry about this if you're listening to this in the car, but let's quickly define simplify because some of you just heard that and in your inner overachiever said, great, I'll reorganize my entire life and also alphabetize all my receipts. No, we're not doing that. Simplify means that we are one, we are going to make fewer decisions. 2, we're going to have fewer surprises. 3, we're going to have fewer places where money can leak out. 4, we're going to have fewer accounts that you don't understand. And 5, we're going to have one single source of truth that you can come back to when life gets busy. Simplify does not mean cut everything that's fun, that you're going to stop living your life or turn into a monk with a beautiful blossoming Roth IRA. And simplifying is not the same as being cheap. You can make good money and still be financially chaotic. In fact, high income can hide chaos for a very long time because money keeps patching all of the holes until it doesn't, or until you are so tired of thinking about money that you avoid it entirely. And then the chaos multiplies. So today we're doing the opposite of avoidance. We're actually going to hit the reset button. All right. And I know I love a good reset, it just clears out all the cobwebs. Here's a little bit of quiet housekeeping because I know some of you are listening while you're driving, maybe you're walking the dog, or maybe you're hiding in the pantry for a little bit of peace from the family. No judgment from me. If you can't do the reset in real time, here's what I want you to do. I want you to save this episode, bookmark it, send it the link to yourself to open it later, screenshot the title, and when you have one protected hour this week, I want you to run it like a sprint. I want you to be all in. And if you are doing it with me live, this is not a test. You are not being graded. The goal is forward motion, not a gold star. Also, if you miss a step, don't panic. You can replay this episode. You can share this episode. You can do it with someone else. Your money isn't going anywhere, okay? Well, it might be going somewhere through subscriptions, but this is where we're going to catch it all, right? We're going to be like Pokemon and we're going to catch them all, okay? So, here we go. This is going to be the start. But I just also want to share, if you're the kind of person who needs a clean starting moment, Monday, the first of the month, a new notebook, listen, your starting moment is actually now. Let's not wait till sometime in the non-distant future. You don't need a fresh calendar. You need a first step, right? We're going to stop the inertia today. And even if you only have 10 minutes this week, I want you to do the 4-pile method, which I'm going to talk about. If you have 30 minutes, do the 4-pile method plus the subscription sweep. And if you have the full hour, we'll do the whole reset together across this whole entire episode. All right. So progress has levels, perfection has excuses. And I know we're switching all of that off today. Okay. Now, let's get real about why money feels so overwhelming. Let me tell you why money feels overwhelming for really, really smart people. And I know all of you listening to this are super, super smart. It's not because you can't handle math. It's because your money life is probably built like a pile and not a system, right? Maybe like those clothes that are hanging at the end of your bed, maybe in that pile in your bedroom. But a pile looks like multiple accounts because you open one for a bonus, subscriptions you meant to cancel, an old 401k you haven't rolled over, a savings account that you don't know the purpose of, or a credit card that you keep just in case. And it's also autopays you're afraid to touch because the last time you changed one thing, 3 things broke, right? That's actually not a plan. That's a Jenga tower. And we all know what eventually happens with a Jenga tower, right? And here's the kicker. The more successful you are, the more the piles accumulate. The more income streams you have, the more responsibilities, the more tools, the more logins, the more I'll deal with that later. So the goal of today is not to become perfect. Let me say that again. The goal of today is not to become perfect. The goal is to stop living inside the pile and create some clarity and a system. All right. Now, I want to do a quick check in. I want you to rate your current money mental load. Just even if you're sitting in the car, even if you're walking the dog, and we're going to do this on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is my money is boring. I barely think about it. And 10 is I think about money every day, maybe every waking minute, and not in a cute way. Pick a number, don't justify it, don't negotiate with yourself, don't judge it. Just pick the number. Our goal is not to get you to 1 overnight. Our goal is to move you down the scale fast by reducing friction. Because the point of simplifying isn't just saving money, right? The goal is it's saving your attention so that you can actually use your brain to do other things that hopefully are far more fun, far more engaging, and create a lot more peace, which then creates all this opportunity when you are peaceful about this. Here's another quick exercise. Because clarity loves a sentence, here's what I want you to think about. Finish this sentence for yourself. Once again, you can say it in the car. The main reason money feels stressful right now is fill in the blank. I want you to keep it in one line. Don't give me an exhaustive list, but I just want you to say it out loud for yourself, no matter where you are, even if you're whispering. I don't know where everything is. I'm supporting too many people. I have too many counts and no map. I'm making enough, but I'm not building anything. I keep starting systems and abandoning them. Something like that. These are just some examples. That one sentence is your North Star for today. Because simplifying is not random cleaning, it's targeted relief. And that's what we're working for. Because once we feel relief in one part, we'll start to feel relief in other parts. So now let's connect this back to wealth identity, because this is where it gets personal and ideally useful. Now, if you're a builder, you tend to pile by over engineering. You have multiple tools, you have multiple apps, you have trackers, because you believe if you can measure everything, you can control everything. Then you get overwhelmed by your own system. If you're a caretaker, you pile because you're actually trying to cover gaps, other people's emergencies because your line items. The other people's emergencies become your line items. You become the financial shock absorber for your whole entire household or family. Sometimes entire families, but your money system becomes reactive just by default. Now, if you're a maximizer, you pile because you stack goals and strategies. You are investing here, wealth hack there, new idea every week. You're capable, but your attention is split, and split attention is actually expensive. I've talked about money, dispersed energy moves nothing. Now, for the minimalist, you pile because complexity makes you shut down. So you avoid it until it becomes a bigger mess, not because you don't care, but because you care too much to wade through all of the clutter. I want you to hear me. None of these are character flaws. They are just patterns, and you want to be able to understand them so that you can decide what changes you want to make. And once you name the pattern, you can actually begin to design systems around that pattern. That's what today is. Okay. So let me give you 4 quick permission slips, one for each wealth identity, because this episode will hit differently depending on where you are situated, right? So, first, I'm talking to my builders. You know who you are because you've taken the wealth identity test. Your permission slip is to keep it simple. You're allowed to have a plan that's good enough and still effective. You don't need a color coded dashboard to be wealthy, okay? Now, for my caretakers, your permission slip is to prioritize your baseline. I'm going to talk more about that. You're allowed to protect your stability first without feeling selfish. Your peace is not a luxury item. Now, for my maximizers, your permission slip is to slow down and sequence. You're allowed to focus on one thing without feeling like you're falling behind. Focus is actually a big flex, okay? Minimalists Strategist, your permission slip is to face the clutter in small doses. You're allowed to simplify without becoming a finance hobbyist. We're designing a system that respects your bandwidth. So I want you to keep all of those permission slips in your back pocket. You might even want to write them down and put them up in a place where you can see. Maybe it's a mirror, maybe it's your computer, maybe it's on your phone, maybe it's your screen share, your screenshot. So let me give you an example of how this can be persistent as a pain point. I work with a client, let's just call her Tasha. She's a high performer, six salary, smart, responsible, the one people call when things break down at the office or the home. On paper, she's fine. In reality, Tasha had two checking accounts, one from college, one from a new bank with a better app, three savings accounts because she kept opening them for goals and forgetting which one was which, an old 401k sitting at a prior employer, a current 401k, a Roth IRA she contributed to twice, two credit cards she uses, and two credit cards she keeps for emergencies, and one store card she swore she closed, but apparently is living in immortality. Every month, she felt like money disappeared. And that's because it was, and not because she was actually reckless, right? It's because money was moving around through too many pipes and she didn't have a map to understand what was the lay of the land. When we did our 1 hour reset, she didn't become a different person. She didn't suddenly love spreadsheets. She didn't start eating rice and beans in the dark, right? And not never going anywhere or doing anything. But what she did get was clarity. And with clarity, she stopped making decisions from panic mode, right? That is the actual point of all of this. So, as we start to like wind down on this segment, let me bring this all home for you, right? Now that you're the wealth, now for the wealth capacity connection. When your life is cluttered, your capacity gets hijacked, right? When your money life is cluttered, your capacity gets hijacked. You can't build sustainability or stability if bills are unpredictable because auto pays are on auto and they're messy and you don't know what's going on. You can't build optionality if recurring expenses are hiding in subscriptions and nice to haves that you forgot about. You can't even think about leverage by investing ownership, debt strategy if you're spending your energy tracking down passwords and wondering what that $27 charge is that you had recurring over the last 3 months. Simplifying is not a side quest, it is foundational. So, I just want you to take all this into consideration. And in the next episode, we're going to actually get into the real quick and dirty of the 4 pile method. But just really quick, let's do an open tab audit. These are tasks that live maybe rent free in your mind, but I just want you to listen and think about the ones that actually may resonate with you. Thinking about, I should roll over that 401k. I need to cancel that subscription. I don't know what my insurance actually covers. I should increase my 401k, but I'm not sure. I need to recheck my credit report. So these are just some things that might be floating around in your brain. And so in the next segment, what I want to do is I'm actually going to be working you through a actual system to help you deal with all of that. So thank you. You're listening to the Do Different Better show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. I will see you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to the Do Different Better show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And in the first segment, I was sharing with you thinking about how you are thinking about money and how you might be feeling like everything, you've got all these money leaks. You don't really feel like you've got a handle on what's going on with your money. And so Now, what we're actually going to talk about is starting to create a system, a very simple system. And once again, if you're listening to this in the car, or you're listening to this on, you're walking the dog, or you're listening to this while you're at work, I want you to listen to this, but then I want you to bookmark this so you can go back, because we're actually going to go through a system that you can do in real time. So you can come back to this. I want you to also schedule an hour on your calendar. Maybe it's on the weekend, maybe it's on the evening, so you can come back and listen to the show and actually walk through what we're doing in real time, so that you can actually feel very satisfied because you've been able to move the needle on something. Okay. So now let's get back to the show. So right before heading out, I talked about some of the money tapes that might be playing in your head. Maybe you're thinking, there are thoughts that live in your mind that are living rent free, right? Some they might sound like, I don't know if my student loan plan is actually optimal for me. Maybe it's, I should look at my spending, but it makes me feel bad, or I need to save more, but I don't know where to start. If you nodded at any of the things that I mentioned, congratulations, you are 100% normal, okay? That is not a sign that you are failing, although I can understand it might feel that way. What it is a sign of is that you actually need a simple operating system, right? Think of your money like your phone. I know we all have one because we can't do without them, right? If you have 20 apps open, and 3 are frozen, and half of the notifications are coming from things that you don't even use anymore, your phone isn't bad. Your phone is actually overloaded. The same thing happens with your finances. A money operating system is the minimal structure that you need to know what's happening in your money life, which also impacts the rest of your life, that to make the right next decision. Maybe it's, do I take that promotion and leave the state because that's where the new promotion is? Or do I need to ask for a raise? And it's also the key to not burning out. Okay. And here's the big reframe I hope that you take away from this. Your goal is not to be the most financially sophisticated person in your friend group. Although, particularly for you maximizers, I know that is your goal. But here's your another permission slip. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. You are an expert in other things. Let other people be an expert in this thing if this isn't your jam. Your goal is actually to be the calmest, okay? The calmest around your finances than anyone in your friend group. Calm people make better decisions. Calm people don't impulse buy. Calm people don't panic sell. Calm people don't sign up for nonsense. And calm people build wealth. Have you ever seen like a scatterbrained wealthy person? There might be one or two that you can think of, but in general, those folks who actually have wealth, who are actually secure in their financial story, are actually tend to be very calm, at least around money. Maybe not about other things, right? Now, I want to take this moment to debunk a few money lies that keep smart people trapped in their pile. Lie number one: I need a full weekend to get organized. No, you don't. That's your brain negotiating you out of action. You need one protected hour to start. Lie number two: if you look too closely, if I look too closely, I'm going to feel bad. Yeah, that's true. It's human nature. But that feeling will probably only last for a very short while, maybe 5 minutes. But avoiding it makes you feel bad for 5 months or 5 years, right? Lie number three: I should already know how to do this. Listen, nobody was born knowing how to manage subscriptions and retirement rollovers, right? We learn money the way we learned cooking, from whoever was around, and half of it was on vibes or direction from the ancestors, right? And lie number four: once I simplify, I'll never have to think about money again. I wish that was true. If that were true, I'd retire on a beach holding a coconut with a tiny umbrella and a lovely cocktail in tow, right? Simplifying money doesn't remove money from your life. It reduces the tax money takes on your attention and energy and your peace. So before we do a reset, I want to make this really, really doable. So here's what we're going to do this like a cooking show. Here's what you're going to need. Okay. You are going to need a phone or a laptop. And you might want to work on a laptop if you have one available, just so you can see the screen bigger. It's a little difficult doing it on the phone with such tiny writing, particularly if you're of a certain age like myself, right? Number two, you're going to need access to your primary bank card and credit card app if you're using the app. If you're not, you may want to use this as an opportunity to sign up for their app, or at the very least, start to have an online account. Maybe you're getting your statements in paper, and you can still do that, but I encourage you to sign up for digital access to your banking information and your credit card information if you don't already, right? Next, I want you to have a notebook, right? Or a note app or a scrap of paper, right? So I encourage folks to have financial notebooks. So as ideas or thoughts or questions or confusions come up, you're keeping all that information in the same place. And if you want, there is a Make Money Matter notebook that you can purchase on my website. So it's a great notebook where you can just keep all of these things that we're talking about on the show, but also other questions that might arise, conversations you've had with your partner or friends or family. You can keep track all of that in one place, right? And you're going to need, and this is probably the most important part, you're going to need 60 minutes that you protect like it's an appointment with your future self. Okay. So these are the things that you're going to practically need. Now I'm going to talk about the things that mentally you're going to need. And these are going to be tough. They're going to be tough. I'm just going to tell you, right? The first thing that you're going to need to do this is come to this with no shame. Okay. There is no shame in resetting. There's no shame in what you're about to uncover. I want you to have no shame. This is also about no perfectionism, right? I'm talking to you, my maximizers, right? You have permission to leave your perfectionism at the front door, right? And the last thing I want you to mentally bring is I want you to have, I don't want you to bring, I should have done this years ago. I don't want that coming into your vocabulary. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're not. We're hitting the reset button and we're moving forward, right? Today is a new day. Today is the first day. Let's go. Okay. And because we're not doing a life review, we're doing a reset. And one more rule, especially for my builders and maximizers. You are not allowed to add a new account today. Okay. No new apps, no new banks, no new strategy. Today is about simplifying what already exists, right? We're not going to add, right? We're just going to simplify where we are right now. And after this reset, I want you to be able to answer these questions in under 60 seconds. One, where does my money come in? Two, what are the top recurring bills and when are they due? What accounts do I actually use? Where am I leaking money without realizing it? And the last one, question number 5, what is my next move this week? That's it. We're not going to win finance trivia. We're trying to run your real life. Now, here's a quick pause. If you want to do this alongside with me with a checklist, you can head over to the dodifferentbetter.com website. You can pause this, go download the sheet, and then come back and listen to the rest of the show. Okay. And if you're listening on YouTube, smash that subscribe button because this is a Q1 series that is designed to get your money out of your head and back under the control. This whole from January 1st up until the end of March, all we're doing is we are Marie Kondoing your whole entire money life. That's what we're doing for right now for this first quarter. Okay. Now you can follow me at Do Better with Elaine on Instagram, and you can catch me on LinkedIn because I'll be posting clips and quick prompts to help keep you moving in between episodes. Okay. So let's recap where we are so that you're not lost in the sauce. Money overwhelm is a systems issue, not a character flaw. You're not a bad person. 2, high income could actually hide chaos and amplify your mental load. 3, your wealth identity explains why you pile in the first place. And number 4, wealth capacity tells us why simplifying is foundational and not optional. And now we're shifting from insight to action. So I promised you that we were going to get into the 4 pile method. This is the part that makes people exhale because suddenly your money life stops feeling like one problem and starts feeling like a clear categories that you can actually handle. All right. So here's what we need to do right now. Get your laptop. You're going to open up and access your main bank account. You're going to access your main credit card app, and you're going to open up your notes app or your notebook or your piece of paper. Okay. So we're starting now. If you didn't know, we're starting now. Okay. So because overwhelm happens when everything feels like one big problem, triage turns to one big problem into 4 manageable categories. So here are the 4 piles, and you can write this down. What is your must pay and must keep, right? Number 2, what is the nice to have? Number 3, what is the messy unknown? And 4, what is needs to be fixed first? That's it. 4 piles. Now we're going to quickly sort your money life into these 4 piles. So, pile number 1, okay? This includes your primary checking account, your primary savings account if you actually use it, your rent, your mortgage, your utilities, your insurance, and minimal debt payments. Anything that would cause immediate damage if you missed it, right? This is your baseline reality. If you're a caretaker, listen closely. This pile is not everybody's needs. This pile is the stuff that actually keeps your household stable. And if you're a builder, don't overcomplicate it. This is not the time for 12 subcategories. Just list the essentials. Now, moving on to pile number 2. This is the nice to have. This is your subscriptions, your memberships, your streaming, your convenience services, your lifestyle upgrades, the stuff that makes life easier, nicer, and enjoyable. But I do want to give a caveat. For some of you, especially when we think about something that supports your mental health. So you may have a subscription to the gym. I have friends of mine, they're like, if I don't go to the gym, I turn into a crazy person. If that's the case, you may want to consider putting that membership in the pile 1, right? But let's not use it as a rationale for your streaming services, all the things that make you feel just warm and fuzzy inside, right? So I really want you to be thoughtful and critical about that. If going to the gym is a mental health thing, maybe consider moving that into pile 1 instead of pile 2, okay? Pile number 3. This is the messy and unknown. This is the category that creates the mental load. This includes old accounts, random autopays that you don't recognize or you may not even know you have because you don't look at your bank account statement or your credit card statement at the end of the month. That 401k from a previous job that you left 3 years ago. And maybe it's an HSA that's sitting somewhere out there in the universe, right? And I'm pretty sure my student loan is on auto pay, right? So these are all the ones where you know that they're out there, but you may not have a tracking on like what's happening with it. Messy unknown isn't failure. It's normal outcome of being messy. If you're a minimalist strategist, this is a pile that makes you want to close your laptop and go take a nap. So here's the rule. You're not solving messy and unknown today. You are simply naming it, right? Naming actually reduces fear. I know that may sound counterintuitive, but naming reduces fear and fear thrives on vagueness. Now let's talk about the last pile. Pile 4 is fix first. These are the things that are actually costing you money, energy, and credit. Right now, examples of that could be overdraft fees, credit card interest that you're not addressing, missed payments, auto pays that bounce, subscriptions you forgot to have, and any red alert notifications. Fix first isn't the biggest item, but it is the most urgent. If you're a maximizer, you're going to want to turn fix first into fix everything. No. You're picking one fixed first item today because urgency is not the same as importance. So, here's what I want you to do. I want you to open the bank app. I want you to look at the last 30 days of transactions. Once again, no judging, no editorializing, and I don't want you to spiral. I just want you to scan. Now, do the same thing in your primary credit card app. As you scan, you're going to write down the items into the different piles. You're not categorizing every latte, you're capturing categories. And here's a shortcut: anything that happens monthly and keeps your life running is probably a must pay or must keep. Anything that's monthly that's optional goes in the nice to have. Anything you don't recognize or haven't looked in a while goes into the messy unknown. And anything that includes fees, interest spikes, or missed payments, that goes in the fix first. If you can only do one thing this episode, do the triage, because triage gives you a map and a map gives you power. So I hope that this has been more helpful in giving you very specific steps that you can do. Right. And now a quick identity check to some of my wealth identity folks. One, for builders, don't overlist. You'll turn this into a dissertation, and I need you to keep it simple. Caretakers, your pile one comes first. You're not a financial shock absorber with legs. Maximizers, I want you to stop stacking. This is not the day to chase 10 wins, right? And check a whole bunch of things off of your list, right? And minimalists, you're doing great. You don't need to fix it all. You just need to keep naming it. Right? Okay, now that you've got your 4 piles, you just did something most people avoid their whole entire lives. Next up, we're going to do a 10 to 20 minute consolidate the daily drivers, your primary accounts and bill flow, so money stops feeling like surprise. And yes, we're doing it in a way that doesn't require you to be a finance lobbyist. So I want you to stay with me. You're listening to the Do Different Better show. Perhaps you're listening on AM 950, and I will find you after the break. Welcome back, everybody, to the Do Different Better show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. And if you are just now joining us, we are doing a 60-minute money reset, right? You've already, in the previous segments, already triaged your money life into the 4 pile method, and you've anchored your daily drivers so bills and cash flow are no longer a mystery novel to you. Now, we're going to hit on the part that creates some instant relief: clutter. Let me say something with lots of love. A lot of you aren't necessarily broke. You might be feeling broke. What's actually happening is you're leaking, right? And leaks are sneaky because they don't feel like that big purchase, maybe that you spent a whole lot of money on that you probably shouldn't have. It actually is it's the $9.99 here or the $14.99 there and the $27 for something you don't even remember signing up for, which is quite honestly disrespectful, right? And then people say, I don't know where my money goes, or I think I know where my money goes. You should be able to say with confidence, I know exactly where my money is going, right? And with that confidence, it's going to allow you to be able to open your mind and provide confidence in so many other parts of your life. But here's how it goes: subscriptions you forgot about, autopays that you're afraid to touch, and free trials that quietly went into auto mode, right? So this is not a shame segment. This is about reclaiming your margin segment. So let me keep the rules very simple, right? Here are the rules I want you to think about. Number 1, we are canceling 3 things max right now, not 30. 3. This is not a purge. We're just making forward progress. Number 2, we're identifying your top 3 recurring charges that don't actually match your life. Number 3, we're building a tiny habit, recurring expense awareness. That's the goal, not the purging. We'll get to the purging by making a consistent system and making our actions consistent and building a habit around this, because awareness creates optionality, and optionality is wealth capacity, right? So step number 1, Find your subscriptions quickly. This is where you're going to open up your primary credit card app because you probably have it linked to either your bank account or a credit card and go to the transactions list. If you have a filter for recurring or for subscriptions, use it. It'll make this a lot simpler and go a lot faster. If you don't, use your eyeballs. Okay. But we're not here to write a dissertation. Okay. I just want you to write down 3 recurring charges, just 3. Okay. I want you to write down the name. I want you to write down the costs, and whether you use it weekly, if you actually use the thing every single week. So if it's a streaming subscription, do you watch it every week? Or are you watching it seasonally? I have a friend of mine, she subscribes to certain streaming services during certain times of the year. She's a big, huge tennis fan. So she only subscribes to certain services during that time of the year. Then she cancels it. And now she's not paying for a whole year of services. She might be paying for 4 months of services during the tennis season because that is something that brings her joy, right? It's a nice to have. Remember, pile number 2, nice to have. So the weekly is the standard. You've got to be using it weekly. And if it's monthly and you forgot it existed, that's a clue I want you to pay attention to. Step number 2, would you buy this today test? Okay. Here's the test. If you had to pay for this in cash today, would you still buy it? If the answer is, cancel it. Done, right? Also, if you are paying for something because you feel guilty, cancel it, right? Guilt is not a subscription benefit, right? That's not listed in your, hey, this is what you get with a subscription, a nice big fat dose of guilt every month or every week. Cancel it, right? But I can hear some of you saying, oh, but Elaine, I might need it someday. Listen, someday is a sneaky con artist. And you know what? That if that day comes, do the subscription again. It's that simple, right? Someday is not your emergency contact. All right. Step number 3, cancel 1 to 3 today. Pick one and cancel it right now. Either go to the site and cancel it. Sometimes with some of these banking apps, you can actually cancel right from your banking app. Whatever the case may be is, I know with one of my credit cards, I can actually cancel within my app. I don't even have to contact the company. They'll do all of that for me, right? But cancel 1 right now. If you're feeling bold, cancel 3. Okay. But we're not trying to trigger avoidance by making this painful. And a quick wealth identity check, right? Builders, don't turn this into a budgeting project. Cancel something and move on. For my maximizers, don't chase dopamine and cancel everything, right? Cancel the right things. And then caretakers, be honest about subscriptions you keep for the family that nobody actually uses. And some of these apps, you can get usage reports to find out how much have you used it in the last month, 6 months, a year, whatever the case may be is, right? Your generosity deserves a return on investment. Okay. And minimalist strategists, you'll love this part. Clutter reduction is your gateway to peace. All right. Now let's talk about autopay. Autopay in and of itself is not evil. Autopay is a tool. But uncontrolled autopay is how people wake up with overdrafts fees, random late fees, and an emotional experience of betrayal. So I want you to make 2 lists. List number 1, autopays that actually protect stability, your rent or mortgage, your utilities, your insurance, your minimum debt payments, maybe it's a student loan, things that keep your life functional. And list number 2, auto pays that are convenient or in the nice to have. These are your subscriptions, your memberships, your delivery service, anything that's nice to have. The goal is to protect list 1 and interrogate list 2. Next, we want to think about zombie charges. Zombie charges are recurring charges you don't recognize and didn't approve recently, right? If you see one, screenshot it, mark it messy unknown, and put it in your follow-up list, right? Maybe you're going to copy and paste and put it because you're doing this digitally, whatever tool works best for you. If you're doing this in a notepad in your phone, you can take a screenshot and put that in the follow-up pile, right? But you're going to mark it messy unknown. Don't let one zombie charge derail this entire reset. The point is not to solve every mystery today. The point is to stop your money life from being an escape room. Now, here's the payoff, right? You just bought future flexibility. And here's how it ties into your wealth capacity. Every subscription you cancel buys you future flexibility. That's optionality. And here's the wealth identity tie-in. Builders tend to pay for tools they don't use. Caretakers tend to pay for other people's needs above their own and at the expense of their own. Maximizers tend to pay for convenience and upgrades because they're running so fast. And minimalists tend to pay for simplicity, which is fine if it actually simplifies. Simplifying doesn't mean removing your joy. What it means is that you're removing dead weight. Now we're going to build your money command center. Now that we built your centerpiece, now, all right, now we built the centerpiece, your one page money command center. Again, this is not a budget. This is not an investment plan. This is not a 47 tab spreadsheet. This is a simple page that you can look at and immediately answer what's coming in, what's going out, what matters. So maybe you open up your notes app and you title it Money Command Center. And these are the sections that you're going to have, and it's going to be short and simple. Maybe you do this in a notebook, whatever you want to choose is fine. Income, what are the dates that you get your income and roughly the amount? Number 2, what are the bills? Your key recurring bills and their due dates and how they are paid. If they're coming from a checking account, they're coming from, they're being paid on a credit card, whatever that mechanism to pay it is. Number 3 is your debt snapshot. I want you to get the balance. I want you to put down what your interest rate is on that particular credit card. If you don't know it, write unknown. You can go back and go find it out later. If you've got a statement, it'll say on typically the last page where all the small print is, your APR or your annual percentage rate is going to be there. And then number 4 is your savings snapshot. This is your emergency fund balance, where it lives, and the auto transfer amount that you have if you're setting that up. You're not going to do it if you're not already doing it. Number 5 is your investment list, just the accounts, a 401k, your IRA, and who is the brokerage company that manages it. Right. And 6 is any loose ends. So what are rollover accounts, closed checking accounts that need to be closed, any zombie charges or update beneficiaries? Just pick 3. And this week's next move, you're going to do one action, right? So now you actually have a list of things that you are going to do over time, right? You can tackle one a week. Just be reasonable and kind to yourself. But this now is your single source of truth, and the source reduces decision fatigue, which is the silent killer of wealth building. Now, we're kind of coming to a close, and this was a lot. So I really want you to not try to do this all in a vacuum, but I do want you to put this time on your calendar of your weekly 10-minute reset. I want 2 minutes to check balances, 3 minutes for upcoming bills over the next 7 days, 3 minutes to quick spending, 3 minutes on quick spending scan to see what you've been doing, and 2 minutes to choose one action. That's it. No monthly panic sessions if you have a weekly rhythm, right? So now, if you want to keep building this with me this quarter, the next episodes will stack beautifully. We're going to talk about emergency funds that fit your life. We're going to talk about building a wealth calendar, and so you stop getting surprised by predictable expenses, and how to invest when anxiety wants certainty. So subscribe on the YouTube channel. You can listen to us live on AM 950 on Sundays at 10 a.m. Central Time. You can follow me at Do Different Better, or follow me on Instagram at Do Better with Elaine. And you can also check me out on LinkedIn. But here's the truth. Money is not supposed to be a second job. If your finances feel like they require constant attention and you need more willpower, you need simpler systems that respect your life. So you're listening to the Do Different Better show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen, and I can't wait to see you next time where I help you do different better.